Okay, brother. I guess I got to start off with aloha.
Aloha, Alex.
I love it,
Good to
man.
see you again.
I know. I know. It feels like it's been forever, but it's only been a few months.
Yeah, I know. It's been yeah, I guess it hasn't been that long, yeah.
3 months, maybe 4 months. I'm not
Three
really too
months?
sure.
Wow.
Yeah, it's flown by,
Okay.
but it feels like a long time ago. A lot of things have changed in 3 months, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That says. It's
So
good to see you again.
you too, brother. Like we spoke a lot about. I kept replaying that conversation we had. I thought it was awesome. And we spoke a lot about like the physical training, right? And I'm really interested to hear about the mental side for you, and then also like the way of living in Hawaii that aids in wellness and kind of mental health. I'm really interested to dive into that side now, brother.
Okay. Well, I guess a question that people ask a lot in the comments is there's some nice remarks about how pretty it is where I live, or it looks like I live in a nice place, and I do. It's Hawaii is beautiful. And it does. It's expensive to live here. It's for what you get. I mean, the amount of home you get in Hawaii, you don't get much here, and that's I guess that's the trade-off. I've tried living on the mainland and elsewhere, and my wife and I we're Hawaiians. We're one of those people. We're willing to live with a good amount less
Mm.
in order to have Hawaii, to have the vibe, just the way it feels here, and I don't know, it means a lot to us. Yeah, so I make, like, it's not a big deal, but it kind of is. I just make other things not a big deal, like what I drive and what I wear, and like oftentimes there's remarks or comments about how my fence is falling apart, which it is. And a lot of things right now in Hawaii are falling apart. We're like everybody else. We're subject to the supply chains here, and whatever's going on elsewhere is even worse in Hawaii. So yeah, right now, if our fences and things are kind of falling apart, then there's going to be a little delay on getting them fixed. But even if we have the supplies and everything, um yeah, we're willing to just go without a lot of things just to live in Hawaii. And unless you've been here, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but there's just a way that this place feels that is, at least to me, it's different than any other place in the world. To people that truly love living here, it doesn't matter where you're from, by the way. I was born in Louisville, Kentucky, and there's tons of people that have come here from Europe and parts of the Midwest and just everywhere in the world, who just knew when they arrived here that this is where their soul or their spirit needed to live. And there's other people that will come here and they'll be like, okay, that was cool, and then they'll leave. There's no real bond to the place, and that's just how it is with everything. But yeah, for me, it's a special place, and I think I get a lot of the energy that I try to bring to my workouts. I discovered during the pandemic that I actually like to stand outside and work out. I get energy from standing out in my yard, and
Mm.
yeah, before it was just something to get me out of the house, but I truly enjoy my workouts more when I'm outside, and I guess taking in what they call mana, or the energy of the place, you know. So yeah, I guess it's
I think there's a
yeah.
lot to be said there, man. You know, being out in nature and being present in it, you know, and accepting the energy and giving out good energy, right? Rather than always being in a man-made box with artificial light behind a computer screen, you know, kind of doing everything to the beat of this modern drum. We're kind of slowing everything down, and being out in nature, right? And there's a lot of benefits to that. I know for me, I connect back with myself when I go to nature.
Oh
100%.
yeah, yeah. Um, you know, I work in a gym. I train people. I've been training people in private gyms for, gosh, almost 3 decades now, um, and myself, I was just training indoors all the time, and yeah, it wasn't until the pandemic and you know, just being forced to get outside and make my little 10-minute videos just for my clients to follow along with. And yeah, it really taught me a lot. I won't work out indoors now unless
Wow.
I have to, or yeah, I'll bring everything I need outside, and yeah, it's my thing now. It's been going on 2 years now that I've been training outdoors,
Wow.
and yeah, I don't see myself going back anytime soon. So
Talk to me
it's cool.
about the mana, right? So for us Westerners, a lot of people aren't going to understand what that is. So break that down, and explain and describe the Hawaiian culture a little bit more.
Well, you know, the Hawaii is whether you're spiritual or not, it just is it's a very spiritual place. You'll hear people say this all the time. It's just there's a lot of energy here, and it's a I believe it's a good energy. It's a very powerful, but it's a very um, benign and a very good energy if you're open to it. Um, I, I believe, yeah, it seems like uh, if your heart is good, if you're open to being good, to to energies that are if you avail yourself to these energies, then they are certainly there for you
Mm.
to tap into, and but they also punish you, I believe, if you're not aligned. Like if you try to be a bully, or if you try to exist in a place like this with anything that's malicious or even evil in your heart, I don't think that aligns well with a place like this either. So
Mm.
it's kind of a self-correcting mechanism, in that in general, people that are aligned with positive energy and goodness, they tend to do well here. And I guess you seem to meet a lot of people like that here. You don't meet a lot of sorry, you don't meet a lot of assholes, or jerks in Hawaii, and in general, that I guess that energy doesn't seem to align itself very well here. So um, yeah, no, I guess it's
Wow.
just self-correcting. Yeah, it's at least in my experience, when I was younger, I was, quite a bit. I guess having grown up here, I didn't realize how special it was being here. I took living in Hawaii for granted for many of the years I lived here, just because, it was all I knew. So I was kind of more of a spoiled, kind of entitled kid growing up. And I went to a nice private school, and yeah, and I wasn't really I wasn't the kind of person that, I think I should have been growing up, or could have been, a nicer, more gentle, more caring person. I wasn't. I was just more of this spoiled brat. And yeah, but many of the years, I think on a previous discussion, I might have mentioned that a lot of my initial years, well into my even into my 30s, were very rough. They were very, kind of combative. I mean, I was just, yeah, my spiritual alignment was different from, I guess, living here. And yeah, it was, for me, it was rough living in Hawaii for a while. I seemed to have bad luck a lot when I was like that. And it wasn't until I actually, started to kind of change who I was. It was more just through trial and error. I mean, I really tried hard to be a dick, and, just to really bully my way through situations. And I never hurt anybody here. I've never harmed anybody, but I just thought, I could be, just forceful. And yeah, that didn't work out too well for me. So yeah, just live and learn.
100%, man. Be open to those lessons that life wants to teach you. And that bad luck, I think that's a really, really important thing that you said. Like, it's like, oh, I'm always getting all this bad luck. I was like, well, maybe the reason is within. Maybe you're not aligned with something. Maybe you're completely ignoring the point that you're trying to be taught, right? That the universe is trying to teach you.
When I was younger, I used to think luck was just happenstance. It was just a circumstantial, the events in your life were just events. They're just random. But I think I've learned, as I've gotten older, I've been told, and I've also just observed that what appear to be random events in your life or whatever are reflections of basically how you're living your life. And yeah, I've just noticed that when I'm kind of cheating, or I'm lying, and to myself or to others, what I call luck is not very good. I think I'm getting away with something, but I know deep inside it's not aligned with who I am or how I should be doing it. Yeah, I find I tend to have a lot of problems with water, like my plumbing and things going off on me when I'm not doing things properly. Yeah,
Wow.
I don't know what it is, but yeah, because recently, I broke a New Year's resolution of sorts to myself that I thought, oh, not a big deal. And then all of a sudden, a big pipe behind my toilet went off and broke and flooded my living room. And it's just weird. Yeah, my luck tends to it tends to reflect the way I live. So yeah, if my luck starts getting a little bit sketchy, then I know it's time for me to just to examine what I'm doing a little bit.
Check in on yourself. Yeah, there's definitely something about that, right? Karma and what goes around comes around. We learn all this as a kid, and yet we kind of get enticed by this like fast hustle life, right? Everything is going super, super fast. The invention of the light bulb means we can work 24 hours a day, right? We're not just
Yeah.
kind of slot between the hours of sunlight. And now with computers, right, we can work across different time zones now. And it's like, okay, I've got 24 hours of the day, let's work 24 hours. You're like, wow, good luck. Like things are going to start breaking down. Like you say, you're going to end up kind of working against yourself. And then, your pipe breaks or
Yeah. Well, I've been I guess, my my older daughter, she'll be going to college soon. And I guess one of the things I've been aware of more, I didn't really do a lot of social media or computer stuff until 2 years ago when I started this whole TikTok or whatever I'm doing online now.
Mhm.
Up until then, I really didn't spend a lot of time on the computers. Um, but yeah, I'm realizing, I guess, how much time I spend, and um, I guess my daughters, the amount of time we spend on these devices and on social media, it's I guess I don't know, it's concerning, but it's
Yeah.
fascinating for one thing, and I guess it's of some concern. But I heard there's something, and maybe you can fill me in more. There's something called the metaverse.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is that supposed to replace the internet?
It's it's basically a digital world.
Uh-huh.
So essentially you're going to be able to create a character. And I mean I could be wrong, right? It's still in the works and very new. But you're gonna be able to create a character, dress them the way you want, change their appearance the way they want, and kind of live life as this character, right? It's basically modern day or real life Sims.
Okay.
Remember the old Sims game where you kind of
Right.
walked? Yeah, exactly. And there's now like digital real estate, so you can buy a house in this universe which
So
doesn't
it's like,
exist.
so that's gonna be like a super Minecraft kind of thing.
Yeah. It's basically the
Right.
Matrix.
Ah,
Like the
yeah.
the the worry is though of kids growing up with access to this, right? And they're
Hmm.
like, okay, well, if I'm limited to this organic shell and limited to this is the way I'm going to look. Yeah, you can adapt it and change it slightly, but ultimately, like I'm always going to have blue eyes. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I'm always going to be 5'10", right? Unless you go through some serious like painful surgeries, that's never gonna change, right?
Okay.
But from literally just kind of clicking some buttons, I could create myself 8 feet tall. I could have a tail or
All
whatever,
right.
right? And the issue that kind of comes to mind with like ethical, especially with kids, is like, well, if they can be anything they want in this kind of universe, right? Why would they want to be attached to this organic thing? So they'll spend the majority of their life in this make believe, quote unquote, universe, and they'll kind
All
of
right.
lose themselves mentally to this place.
Oh, okay.
Legit, like science fiction. It's a scary, scary thing. It can be used
Yeah.
incredibly well. It could be insane. Like it could be awesome. More
Right.
connectivity can help a lot of things, but also, there's pros and cons with everything. And there's a lot of questions to be asked philosophically, I believe, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm being educated about now is number one, all the time that kids spend on TikTok,
Yeah.
and yeah, this metaverse thing that seems to be rapidly approaching. So yeah, I don't know. It's there's some new awarenesses, I guess, because I never paid attention to things like, how much time kids spend on social media,
Yeah.
because I didn't really to this day, I mean, I create something on TikTok about every day, but I don't really watch a lot of it. I don't know. I'm just old that way. I like to watch longer form YouTube videos, like news stories and things like that. So this, I don't know, but I guess, yeah, it's been interesting for me to find out how these platforms can be damaging
Mm.
to kids, and yeah, I'm wanting this, as my little thing grows a little bit here. I'm trying to see if I can build it in a way that it doesn't do that, it's helpful
Yes.
to people. And yeah, so I'm trying to figure out I guess how to do that now.
Yeah, I
But
think it's got to pose a question of, okay, if we're going really far this way into the metaverse and creating these alternate realities, essentially is what they are, right? Then we have to be able to go the other way and go, okay, like we spoke about literally 5 minutes ago, of tapping into nature, more spirituality, less devices. I think you've got to be able to go both ways rather than I'm going to go fully into this internet thing, because then you're going to lose one side. And if you go fully into spirituality, then the world's going to keep on getting faster and faster. And then you're going to get a little bit of disconnect from the modern world. If that's what you want, great. Do you think? Right. But I think as a majority on the world, I think we need to push both. I think, yeah, okay, teach kids and allow them access to certain things, and because ultimately technology increases at a faster rate, right? We're going to
oh
keep on
yeah,
advancing. That's not going to stop, right? So the next generation needs to know how to use those. I was like, okay, great, but we also have so much wisdom that we're not teaching to go, just go out for a walk. If you can't go out for a walk and leave your phone at home without getting anxiety or a panic attack, like that's a serious issue. Like we need to be able to do that.
yeah,
Like
it is for
kids are
sure.
losing the ability to be able to like be free thinkers, right? Allow their mind to go where it needs to. 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, self-cleaning, come back. They feel so much better. They've gone to the beach, gone to the mountains, the woods, the park, or whatever, right? Just kind of sat on their own. I find like people can't sit on their own anymore, because they've always kind of connected somewhat with people, even if they're over on the other side of the world, right? And it's a
Hmm.
scary thing. I think we have to be able to go both ways. That's my concern.
Yeah, no, for sure. Alex, how old are you?
I'm 25.
25. All right, okay. Okay. Um, yeah, no, yeah, it's a trip how this whole thing works. Um,
Yeah, man. Like I honestly think I was born out of time, in a sense of I'm so happy of just kind of disappearing, no one knowing where you are unless you pop up in a village and say hello, right? You might send a frigging letter via wood pigeon or something, and that's about it. Like no phone, no nothing. Like I think there's part of me that's always pulled towards that life,
okay.
and I'm like, but if we can use these technologies to help people, right? And I know it sounds really cliche, but use it for good, right, rather than evil. And okay, this is the game, man. We're in 2022. This is the game that we're in. Like we can't change that. Might as well play the game to help people.
Yeah, yeah. That's uh that's that's now that I'm I don't know, for some reason these videos started popping up on, the downside of TikTok or social media. And um yeah, I had no idea that it was, that it was so addictive, and that people could, that people are developing real problems from this. So um
But yeah, that dopamine hit. You know what I mean? Like every
yeah,
time someone likes a video, or they hit a TikTok that they like for 3 seconds, they get that little dopamine hit, and then that can be addictive, right? Same as a drug addict or a alcoholic or a sex addict or whatever. Like it's the same, but now they're getting it pretty much instantaneously, right? And
You
to an
know,
immature mind as well.
I don't know if this is a good answer or not. People ask me all the time, "Hey man, how do you stay motivated to
Mm.
to train? Like, to get out every day and you do something, and what inspires you, or what motivates you to do that?" And the honest answer is, I'm inclined to train whether anybody watches me or not. I mean, I was doing this for years and years before I ever started putting it on YouTube. So what really gets me out on any given day is every now and then, like especially on the days where I didn't want to go and train, I'll go and I'll just do my little thing out there and I'll just post it on TikTok and Instagram. And I'll get a comment later on, somebody that says, "Hey man, I stopped training for 13 years and I saw your video. And man, I'm 10 years younger than you, but I thought like I was done, and or I started training because I saw your video," or you just get one or two of those. And yeah, and if that's dopamine and whatever, then yeah, I guess that's what it is, because
Mm.
when you get a few of those, um it's very inspiring, and it's very motivating to, like, there's some days I'll be like, "Man, I don't want to work out," but the whole point of my posting my workout is that presumably there's thousands of other people right now that also don't want to work out. So the whole point of me posting my stuff is like, yeah, we all don't want to work out. So that's exactly why I'm posting my shit. Is I don't want to work out today, but I know that it's kind of a weird thing, is that I am motivated by people being motivated by what I do.
Yeah,
You
yeah, yeah,
know, and
yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
yeah, it is dopamine dependent and things like that. But I'm not sure that's a bad thing necessarily. Because it's not people liking my videos that, I mean, that's cool. I'm always appreciative if people like my videos, but if someone like says, "Hey man, I went and bought a kettlebell because of your video," or that thing you said about not eating until you're full, or just something, as things like that. That's
Mm.
I guess, yeah, that's what I find inspirational and motivational, is when, I guess, when you feel like you're making some kind of a difference to somebody. So
Here's a question.
yes.
Do you feel like you have a responsibility to always post your workouts?
Yeah, I kind of do. Yeah, I do.
Mm.
Number one, it's weird. I have a responsibility to myself in that I'm not, I've always struggled with being consistent myself. I don't know if I have ADD or whatever. I've always had trouble being, just doing something every single day consistently. And so this is something that I do for myself, um, just to demonstrate that I can commit to something that other people might follow or depend on. And yeah, I really try to get something out every day. um both for myself, but also I do feel like um there's a few people out there that, might, and like I do know that there's some people that just use my videos. Like, they'll say, hey man, I didn't feel like working out, and I know that every day you do something, so I came here just to see what you did. And that, like, I would never do what you did, but that was kind of cool to see that it was raining and you were still doing push-ups,
Mm.
and so what you were doing wasn't super exciting, but the fact that you were doing it was cool. That's all I needed. I just wanted to see, okay, that old fart, he's doing something out in the rain, so I can go out and I'll take my walk. And so, yeah, if that, and I also know that for every person that leaves a comment, there were probably several other people that wanted to leave that comment that didn't.
Yeah. That is true.
So, yeah, I'm figuring, it's helping somebody. And I've always been, I guess, in a way, insecure about that, helping other people. It's weird. I always used to watch other people either at award ceremonies or whatever. Um, you know, they would be acknowledged for all the people that they help. And I always used to, I I was never taught growing up that my job is to help other people.
Mm.
I My parents were great. They taught me a lot of cool things, but I didn't know that I was supposed to actually help other people. So I guess that concept for me was a little bit strange at first. Um, but yeah, I found now that it's taking me a while to wrap my head around that. But that's, I think, what drives me more than anything else is knowing that something I'm doing is helpful to somebody.
Mm.
I guess, yeah, I get a kind of a high, or I get a little bit of a hit off of that. Is if I can put an exercise that maybe somebody like me has seen an exercise like this, but there's a different spin on this exercise or a different aspect of it. If I know that someone out there might have gotten, oh, cool, like a little something from that, then that's, I don't know, that does something for me.
Yeah,
So
it's like undoubtedly people look up to you, man, and take a lot of, whether it's inspiration, motivation, or just a cool little, oh, okay, yeah, he's doing some good shit. Like people definitely look up to you, man. Like, I guess what I'm interested in hearing is like, who do you look up to?
you know it's weird. Huh. I look up to people who I've told my daughter this. The one skill that I always, because I didn't really have a lot of this growing up. I've had to, as kind of yeah, this was not something that I was really instilled with when I was younger. It's people that just have grit, that have tenacity and determination, and I told my daughter this, that you can be talented, you can be not very talented, you can be pretty, you can be ugly, you can be whatever. you can have a lot of natural skill, you can have very little natural skill, but if you're determined, if you have tenacity and drive, and you don't give up, anybody that can really struggle at anything that they lack, that they're not good at, that person is a badass to me. And it's regardless of what category they struggle in. Like, people would tend to think that I would choose somebody who carries the Husafell stone or some strongman event. But I have great admiration for people who are like at my age, in their 50s, who decide that they're going to go back to school and sit with kids who could be their grandchildren, and they're going to get their college degree at my age, and they're going to get laughed at and teased both by their peers as well as these kids that they're going, but they do it anyway. So I guess the people that I look up to, it doesn't matter. It could be a cowboy taking a ballet class, just anybody that steps out of their comfort zone in any realm is, I guess, my heroes. My brother was, he was recently, in response, I guess, to the trucking shortage, he became a trucker during the pandemic. And he was kind of shit talking himself because he was just a trucker. And I was telling him, dude, the amount of responsibility that you're taking on doing what you do, and the necessity of what you do, and the fact that it's so outside of what you used to. Like, for me, I don't have the balls to get in a big rig and drive all that tons of stuff down. Man, that takes a break. That's not me. But anyone that can step out of their comfort zone that way and expose themselves to something so new, those are the people I look up to, regardless of what they're doing, or male or female, or it's anyone that can struggle.
It's powerful, man. Seeing that, like seeing someone refuse to give up, and no matter how many times they get tripped up or fall down, or life pushes you down there and says, nah, you ain't doing this. Like, no matter how many times that happens, someone gets back up. That can only ever motivate the shit out of you, right? That just sets a fire in someone's soul where it's like, wow, that person is refusing to give up, and that is incredible.
Yeah, no, it's of all the things I've seen out there, there's a lot of natural talent, but the problem with natural talent is there's always going to be someone with a little more natural talent than you, and if you ever run up against that person, and now you have to somehow build on that, and you've never done that before because everything you had was natural talent, that's that's why that person that can just go into low gear and just grind and start to struggle, when it gets tough, they can just, that to me is that's the ultimate skill. Because there's never a time where you wouldn't need something like that. So
that's a really important point for kids as well too, man, of like, people are always going to be born with what they're born with. You got zero say over that, right? But the way you act and attack certain things is completely down to you. And your hard work you've got the responsibility for that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, my so my older daughter, she's going to be going to college in a few months, and she's a lot more independent than, say, I was growing up. I grew up kind of in a real nice, in a nice neighborhood, and you know, yeah, I grew up somewhat, I guess, privileged, and my daughter did not grow up the same way. Yeah, we yeah. Once I got out of the house, I entered more of a reality kind of thing, and I realized that the way I was raised, it was really nice, but I lacked a lot of the skills that I would need, in just for basic life. So um I made sure that my daughter knew like certain things, like just basic things, like when she was very young, I used to make her ask for, like, if we're at a restaurant, if she needed a straw or she needed a spoon, she had to ask for those items herself.
Mm.
Um, or she had to physically go and get those items. We didn't ask on her behalf, or, she was made to get everything from a young age. Um, and we wanted to teach her that there's not a real separation between what adults do and what children do. Um, yes, you're she's capable at a young age, and
Mhm.
yeah, she I guess she took those lessons to heart, because yeah, she's going to be going to Wharton in Pennsylvania, and yeah, that's what that school is what she dialed in on when she was very young, and she got that. So
Awesome.
yeah, yeah, no, she did
Bro,
very well for herself.
brother, I got three questions.
Yeah.
What does vulnerability mean to you?
Vulnerability is, to me, it's simply being honest, I guess.
I like that.
It's yeah. If I guess for most of my, I guess my younger years, I'll call it, up till, yeah, everything up until into my 40s, I really struggled with, like, I couldn't go online and do what I do until recently. I mean, I didn't start doing this until I was, what, 51? Yeah, I'm 53 now. So, because I was embarrassed of what my yard looked like, I was embarrassed of what my classmates on face at the time, I guess, we had Facebook, and
Mm.
I was like, yeah, I was embarrassed about what people would think about everything, like my yard, my car, just, and I finally got to a point where I was like, wait, why are you, why am I like this? I, I guess I felt like what made me, I guess, change a lot of that was I felt kind of ashamed that I was ashamed.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning I was ashamed of, I guess, the life I had created, but it's the same life that my kids were supposed to, like, I'd hear of kids not wanting to go on Instagram or something because their kitchen was ugly, or their yard was whatever, and they didn't want to get teased. And I was doing the same thing with myself. And, I have daughters and everything. And I was like, well, why should I be ashamed of what my yard looks like? If somebody doesn't like it, then them, and my daughters shouldn't be ashamed of my yard either. And my house is a little messy. I don't really show a lot of my house, but yeah, I guess being vulnerable just means being willing to be honest. And I think what makes being honest easy, or at least for me, is just understanding that literally, I mean, pretty much people are all the same.
Mm.
I mean, whatever mess I have in my house, I'm pretty sure other people have a similar mess in their house with similar items, and they're probably messy for similar reasons. So I no longer, I guess, care, because I also had to ask myself, what kind of person or what state of mind would would I have to be in for me to be watching somebody else on, say, YouTube or TikTok, and then for something in their background to bother me so much that I have to write something negative to that person about it. I would just ask, how badly would my life have to kind of suck?
Mm.
And yeah, it would have to suck pretty badly. And I'm going to assume there's not that many people like that. So I just got over it. I was like, you know what? Yeah, my fence is falling apart. I do drive a car that is probably older than my older daughter. And, that's just what it is. And it's cool. And, I'm grateful for what I have. And yeah, so I don't try to cover up anything now. If there's junk in my background now, and yeah, it's okay now. So
Awesome.
I found I like it's a good question, because I found that making myself vulnerable, actually I feel, I don't know, in a way cleaner, or a way, yeah, I feel better when I actually do expose the side. Like on my videos, there's times where I fail. I don't make the lift, and I it's not a good video. I post it anyway. I mean, yeah, I don't always make the lift that I'm trying to make, and now I post those as well, because I want people to see the other side of this whole thing. Yeah, it looks cool when we do the whatever lift, but I think it's balancing, and it's more, I think it's more healthy for people to watch, me fail the lift and then trip over the barbell when I'm done, which is what I've done, what's happened before, and I want people to see that. So yeah,
I love that connection of vulnerability with honesty. I think that I'm gonna take that forward with myself. I think that's awesome.
cool. Yes.
What does leadership mean to you?
Leadership, I think, for me, would probably, I think the thing that I lacked in my leadership, say in my family, I feel like the more I'm willing to take the pain of a team member, the more I am willing to take a team member's pain, the better my organization seems to run. So there's times, because I didn't really grow up a real team player. There's not a lot of military background in my family. So some of the values of, military are a little lacking in my upbringing. But I found that the more I care about the members of my team, I guess, yeah, just the better that organization runs. If I forget and I start focusing on, like there's times where we're traveling with my family and we'll get to a hotel or whatever, and all of my bags made it to the hotel just fine. But sometimes your kids' bags or somebody else's bag doesn't. And it just took me a little while to kind of learn, hey man, it's great if your stuff arrives all, but if you're a team, if you got a group, you've got to be counting everybody's bags. And that should just be something and that wasn't kind of the way it was done in my family. We were more like every man for himself, and hopefully everybody showed up with what they brought. But
yeah
I had to learn. But yeah, I've learned that the more of an attitude that I have, that you take care of the people on the team first.
Yes, sir.
And that I believe that.
Yeah, I agree.
The best of my leadership comes from that awareness. Basically, that
I agree.
If I take good care of the organization, then it takes good care of me. So
yeah, totally. I agree 100% of the way that. Yeah. Last question. What's your purpose?
My purpose right now, it's kind of strange. I used to tell my wife before I got online, so maybe just over 2 years ago, I was literally about 50 years old before I started doing all this online stuff. I didn't really know what my purpose was. I would, for over maybe 20 years, I would work in my studio. It was literally like a box, just like a gym, just a big room, and I'd work with I don't know, my 6 or 8 people a day. And I'd just come home and be with my family, and I'd go there, and for 20 years I did that, and I didn't really know what my purpose was, because I wasn't I wasn't even sure that what I was teaching my clients was. I didn't have another person to bounce my ideas off of. I would just I would tell my wife that I called it inbred knowledge. Like basically my ideas were all just interbreeding with each other, and I wasn't even sure that. I was just feeling very kind of disconnected with the fitness world. And so I guess what I've learned in the last couple of years, my purpose now is to learn, and I'm getting a pretty good idea now but I feel like I just need a little bit long. I'm trying to learn how I can be of service to the greater fitness community that's online. I've been I, there's a segment of comments that I get where it's these people are clearly beginners, and they're like, hey man, I'm brand new, or I haven't worked out in like 15 years, and how do I start? And then there's other people that they're quite advanced and they want to know how to do kettlebell orbits and pivot cleans and all this other stuff. So I guess what I want my purpose to be is, there's a lot of guys that are doing fitness online, and I know this sounds kind of like some little cause but I'm actually wanting to use the influence I have to get people more offline.
Yeah, I understand that totally.
Yeah. Myself included, I started getting a little bit obsessive with all of this this stuff here, and yeah, I think as I'm learning more about it, I'm wanting, I guess I'm wanting people, trying to figure out ways of people engaging with people more, and engaging with getting outside more. Yeah, that's why even for me, I have access to a full gym, with squat racks and everything I could use. And for me, I still like to just take whatever equipment I can drag out into my front yard there, and I like to do my workout there because I feel more connected to that than even being indoors with an air-conditioned room and all this artificial light that's falling on me. Yeah, I don't know. I guess right now I want people to feel more connected, I guess.
Yep.
Just more connected with, that's why I'm trying to make my videos right, where I talk a little bit more. Before it was just kind of like music videos, like just an exercise with a song, which I still do sometimes if I'm just lazy and I don't have a lot of time. But I'm trying to, I don't know, I want to connect with people more. Just,
Agreed, man. I love that so much.
Yeah. If they're lonely or whatever, just connect with people a little bit.
Totally. Brother, I appreciate your time and what you do so much. And like I said last time, I'm gonna have to make it over to Hawaii, and we're gonna have to throw it down, and we'll share a coffee and chat some shit in person.
Sounds good, Alan. Yeah, that sounds great. And I appreciate you having me on your show again. So I'm a little bit scattered today, but
no.
Those are my thoughts, and I'll be happy to talk with you later on.
Real conversations, man, and I'll always appreciate that, and I'm super grateful for it.
Cool, man. Always.
Thank you, brother. And
all right,
I'll speak to you soon. See you soon, and aloha.
Do it again. Much aloha.
Perfect.
Take care.
Bye, everybody.